Nigerians encourage corruption, says University of the Punch newspaper.
David Mark says, speed adjourned.
America's Nigerian Governor Forum calls for Okonjo Iweala's
Man
resignation.
says, new PDP.
Page 2 of the Punch newspaper.
The dailies every day on Core TV News.
It's a beautiful Friday morning in Lagos, and thank you for staying with us on Cool Digest. Let me quickly run you through top stories making headlines on some of Nigerian newspapers. Of course, the Punch is here, The Guardian, The Vanguard, as well as The Nation newspaper. So we quickly start with the top story on the front page of the Punch. Civil servants face bleak Christmas over unpaid salaries. Got details of that on page 2, and the front page picture here tells it all. Workers protesting the rejection of local government autonomy by the Edo State House of Assembly in Benin. That was yesterday. That man at the center looks like Austin Osakwe in Benin. Now, INEC extends governorship candidate list submission date. Get details on page 8. Onigbide asks Keshi to quit Eagles, page 71. And Jonathan to Labour, stop punishing Nigerians with strikes, page 13 of the Punch. CBN bars banks from holding funds and dollars, that's on page 33. Boko Haram abducts 185 children, women near Chibok, page 2 of the Punch. 70% of candidates fail November-December WASC, page 12. Last time it was 75%, so how do we perceive it now? Improvement, is that what we will say? Let's move on quickly to the Guardian newspaper this morning. Insurgents Q32 abducts 185 in Borno. The writer here says no plan to attack Abuja suburb, says DSS. World leaders hail restoration of U.S.-Cuba ties. The front page picture here shows President Nigeria Labour Congress Abdulwahid Omar alongside President Goodluck Jonathan and the Federal Capital Territory Minister Bala Mohammed at the official takeoff of the nationwide workers' housing scheme at Apotafi in Abuja. I showed you that earlier in my opening remarks. NCP ratifies sale of NITEL, MTEL, and WAEC records better candidates' performance in 2014 November-December exam. Defeated Kano PDP aspirant demands a refund of 500.5 million naira from 26 delegates. And Oduaha wants federal government to pay teachers' salaries. You get all of that if you care to check The Guardian. Well, it's 249 days after the abduction of over 200 girls from Chibok, and The Guardian is saying, bring back our girls. Our next point of call is The Vanguard. Vanguard, my favorite newspaper. That's what Adeboye is saying on the front page of this paper. Praise for company and staff, says chaotic traffic on Apapa Oshodi Road needs prayers. And I heard him yesterday. He actually says, after going through hours, rigorous hours in the Apapa traffic, he said now it's about time to start praying for the situation and the condition of that road. Boko Haram abducts 191. Okay, this is where we get different figures. The Guardian says it's 185, as well as the Punch. But the Vanguard is saying it's 191. I believe the Tribune this morning puts it at about 200. Kills 32 in Borno, sacks Gumsuru community near Chibok. They killed our youths, took away our wives and daughters, say residents. And then to other stories here, Amechi leads Buhari's presidential campaign team. That's on page 8. CBN imposes new forex restrictions on bank, page 9. And you have your favorite Mr. and Mrs. right somewhere at the corner. The Mr. is saying, dear, I'm going to get you a fantastic Christmas gift. And the Mrs. answers, that's what you said last year when I reminded you. You denied ever saying so. This time, I'm going to put you on tape. On the back page of the Vanguard for some sports, Eagles slump end 2014 outside top 40. And new tests claim Cameroonian footballer died after beating. And Iguavon eyes NFL presidency. Ike Uche signs new deal. That's on page 63. Another point of call is The Nation newspaper this Friday morning. 2015 election, panic in PDP presidency over Osinbajo. And campaign defends Buhari against attack. Parties submit lists to INEC. Fashola Oshomole Fayemi Ojudu hail APC's choice of eminent lawyer. Buhari is immensely rich in character, is affluent in integrity, is prosperous in credibility, he is wealthy in honesty. Those are greater and more valuable assets than all the material acquisitions. Okay, you get details of all of that. It continues on page 4 of The Nation. Falana to appeal death sentence on 54 soldiers. And the front page picture here, on my honor, from left you have Justices Obafemi Adamson, Olabisi Ogungbeson, and Adeola Akintoye taking their oath of office as new High Court judges in Lagos. Boko Haram abducts 185 in attack on village near Chibok, 35 killed, survivors relief ordeal. EU condemns killings. Details on page 4 of The Nation. VC flees as Ekiti Federal Varsity workers protest. That's on page 7. And WASC records 29% pass. Uche extends contract at Villarreal, page 24. NCP OK's Nitel sale for $252 million. Okay, so you can check it out on any of your favorite newspapers. It might even be anyone outside from the ones I just read. But you can be sure that at every top of the hour here on Core TV News, that's what we do better, bringing you up to date with stories as they break in Nigeria and beyond. Okay, you know the presidential candidate for the PDP already. You know the one for the APC. Many other candidates are springing up by the day. In 2015 general elections, we might have more than 10 or 20. Only time can tell. But I'm joined this morning by a presidential candidate for the 2015 general elections under the platform of the National Conscience Party. He's been here before. He's here again now, formally as a presidential candidate. Good morning, Chief Martins ONOVO. Good to have you join us.
Good morning.
Well,
glad to be here.
I want to say, will you please accept my congratulations on your nomination?
Thank you very much.
Was it a nomination or was it a primary election, so to speak?
We had our primaries last week on Thursday in Abuja.
Okay.
It was hotly contested, and the delegates chose me. Not because my opponent was not good enough, but because someone has to be chosen. And since then, my party has filed nominations for our candidates. It's good that INEC has extended it, because we must not constrict the political space.
Okay.
I see the element of political mischief, of people trying to constrict the political space. That will limit the choice of our people.
Okay.
Our people need to make the right choice and take responsibility for whatever choice they make.
Have you picked a vice?
Oh, yes. We have filed
already?
nomination.
Okay.
Mohammed Ibrahim from Kebbi State
Okay.
is a management expert and a successful businessman. We think he brings a strong intellectual value, and he balances the ticket
It's all
with
right.
respect to demographic representation.
The last time you were here, I introduced you as a former presidential candidate under the platform of the Action Alliance. What
Yes.
makes you different from every other average politician that has one time or the other cross-carpeted? Because I believe that you were also one of those people who strongly have opined that our politicians in Nigeria lack value, they lack philosophical ideas, they do not have, what is it called now? They talked about ideology. So what makes you different if you have moved now from AA to the NCP?
Well, first is that it's morally justifiable. Second, that it is legally justifiable. Thirdly, is that it is intellectually justifiable with respect to ideologies, because I'm a social democrat. I can operate on any social democratic platform. The Action Alliance, which I previously belonged to, interestingly, I used to be a member of the NCP before I had disagreements with the leadership and I went to the Action Alliance. And both are social democratic platforms. So if you know the meaning of ideology, there's no ideological shift.
What happened with AA this time?
Well, I think it's better you invite their national chairman and ask him.
Okay, you said you had a disagreement earlier with the NCP before you moved to the AA. Was
Yes.
there another disagreement this time with the AA?
Well, there was a change in leadership that did not reflect our perspectives for the future and for the country. So we took a patriotic decision to move back to the NCP.
All right, let's get to national issues, because we're not actually here to talk about your presidential prospect. I believe you have to pay for that so that I can give you an exclusive on all the plans you have for us. But for now,
Well,
let's
that looks like you are subverting your critical social responsibility roles.
Okay.
Because the laws are very clear. You have to feature political parties equally.
We're making plans to do that. There's going to be a political debate here for everyone who is contesting for one political post or the other. But this is a privileged interview, and if I go ahead talking about your plans, that indeed, within the confines of this profession, is called a commercial interview.
Well, I didn't self-invite.
I understand.
I was invited.
That's exactly why I said let us move to the focus of this interview for the major reasons why we invited you. Now, the first issue, we're promised not to discuss the issue of the abducted Chibok girls for a while for the sake of national security and giving the Nigerian military the time to go about it. But recently, the senior special assistant, so to speak, to Mr. President on publicity, Donyo Kupe, came out in Lagos to talk about this. And we're going to play the clip where he actually made certain pronouncements and certain positions known of the federal government. We'll be back with you after this. Wait for that. It's Donyo Kupe 2, MCR, in case you are looking for that. But the question on the lips of many is that at this critical time in our national history, would the idea of security or insecurity, so to speak, would have an impact on the outcome of the 2015 elections? I understand the clip is ready now. Let's have it.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on Core TV News.
220 or 40 children are not people that you can just stop a place and release. In the last 1 year, America has made 3 failed attempts to release hostages. One hostage. In all the attempts, all the hostages have died. Is it my story? It is true. A couple of days ago, you had what happened in Pakistan. In an attempt to do a rescue. Australia. Several children were killed. In Chechnya, some time ago, so many years ago, when 1,000 students were held hostage, and they tried to use military force to release them, over 800 of them were killed. This is not what we want. It is better if we get these girls under whatever circumstances. If they have any problem, we can resolve it. If they have any psychological issue, we can employ experts to help us. If they have issue of deprivation, we can assist. We can give support to their mother. But we don't want to bring body back. If a woman has waited for over 200 days for her daughter to come back, what joy will she get if you bring the girl dead? Our people must be reasonable. We cannot do everything and say because of politics. Politics is here, not there. Don't destroy this nation because of hatred for one man. If a man comes from a minority area, is it an offense? No. If their oil is good enough to provide peace, if their oil is good enough to provide comfort for Nigeria, why is it an abomination that they should sit at the head of the country? Why?
Senior Special Assistant and Publicity to Mr. President, they're talking about this position. Now, I believe you want to react to that.
Well, it's unfortunate the level of intellectual depravity we have sunk to. He is using bad examples to justify the ineffectiveness of the government he's serving. Why can't he cite any good examples? Cameroon, our next door neighbor. 3 of their people were kidnapped. They stormed Boko Haram, killed about 17 of them, rescued their people alive. He didn't mention that. He's mentioning only disasters, so he's telling us to subconsciously expect disasters from his government. It is just appalling the level of intellectual depravity the Nigerian public space has degraded to. And the media must take some responsibility for it because they're encouraging all this nonsense. If it is his daughter, will he speak like this? To him, there are statistics. That's what it means. And such people should not be allowed to promote this kind of depraved standards in the public space. But unfortunately, it's a dysfunctional society.
It's interesting to note that you are also contesting for the presidential election in 2015. What would you say that this administration is not doing right or doing enough in the area of insecurity?
Well, the very first thing is that security must be managed with a world-class management system. And that world-class management system must indicate expectations. It must indicate scope. It must indicate work processes. It must indicate a feedback system. And it must have corrective action capabilities. The first thing is that looking at security, upstream in security is intelligence. You must gather appropriate intelligence. You make decisions based on information. We haven't seen that done properly. Boko Haram is 5 years old. How come we don't have exact information on Boko Haram? Actionable information. Verified and confirmed information. On the source of funding, their recruitment strategies, their actual philosophies, their source of arms. That's number one. Number two, why is it that after 5 years, we do not have an effective surveillance and monitoring system on Boko Haram? Number three, if you had this information, we will know their capabilities. Right now, even me, not being a security operative of Nigeria, I have an idea of the capability of Boko Haram. They don't have any air capability because they haven't shown any. They are using armored tanks and rocket-propelled grenades and mounted machine guns. That's what they're using. And then AK-47, ground fighters. So when you have this information, you do what you call a security assessment. Then you develop a... This is done by experts, people who are trained, and they are bound in this country. You develop your security capacity to respond and timing. If you have that, just like the Cameroonians demonstrated, within 48 hours they had their people back. 247 days, we cannot have our people back. Why? And there it was more difficult because they had only 3 people. To move 3 people, we can move them in 1 truck. In our own case, they had 200 people. That's clumsy. We should have been able to respond. But don't forget that General Obasanjo is a 4-star general to start with. And in addition, he's a former head of state. General Obasanjo said he took the incumbent 18 days to start thinking about how to rescue the girls. That's his own testimony. I believe it is correct because the answers collaborate what he said. And he has said, if the commander-in-chief had responded on time and provided leadership, would have had better. That's very obvious to me. And that's why I agree with what you're saying. Now, we can't do the wrong things and have the right answers. We need very strong armed forces commensurate to our size and our wealth. That we don't have today. But we used to have that in the past. We were a regional power before now. We performed very well in Sierra Leone. We performed very well in Sudan. We performed very well in Liberia. We were a regional power before now. So you have seen that under this government, things have degraded instead of getting better.
The position of the presidency as regards that is that unlike the wars that the Nigerian army has fought that this is an unconventional war.
Brilliant.
In such a way
Brilliant. Maybe it was conventional
warfare.
in Cameroon. Brilliant. You see, that's what I'm talking about, intellectual depravity. Intellectual depravity. And that is not just intellectual depravity, intellectual and moral depravity. It's the same Boko Haram. It's the same 2014. They kidnapped 200 and something in Nigeria. We can't recover them after 8 months. They kidnapped 3 in Cameroon. Cameroon recovers them alive and kills Boko Haram. And expels Boko Haram from their territory. How do you compare Nigeria to Cameroon in terms of size and resources? How come Cameroon is going to outperform us? I am telling you, it's a leadership problem. And don't forget that all the leading ethical intellectuals in this country agree it's a leadership problem. Start from the late Professor Achebe. Start from the late Chief Ganifa Emi, who founded our political party. Start from Professor Shoyinka. Start from the Honorable Justice Mohammed Owais. Start from Professor Ben Wabeze. The leading ethical intellectuals in Nigeria agree that it's a leadership problem. So if Nigerians truly want to correct these deviations, we must change this leadership with an appropriate leadership that will lead us in line with our laws, in line with our universal values, on the path of development.
Let's just quickly get another video ready from the MCR. It's the Chief of Defense Staff, Alex Bade, who spoke with State House correspondents yesterday as we got some developments on the security situation in Nigeria. While they get that video ready, another video came online, I believe yesterday, where the Boko Haram leader, Abubakar Shekau, well, some have called him an imposter, who claimed to be Shekau, speaking, talking about an outright attack, threatening to attack the Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi, because of the statements he made as regards Nigerians defending themselves against the insurgents. How do you think the nation, Nigerians so to speak, should receive this message?
Well, the first thing is that I must praise the Emir of Kano for providing leadership. We must defend ourselves against Boko Haram. And you know that in Gamborungala, some hunters killed about 80 Boko Haram militants in a confrontation. So that's self-defense. We must defend ourselves against Boko Haram. No question about that. We cannot wait for the government forever. The government has had 5 years to contain Boko Haram. Instead, Boko Haram has been growing in strength. We must defend ourselves. So I congratulate the Emir of Kano for providing leadership. Now about Shekau's threat to kill the Emir of Kano. That's not unexpected. If Shekau is able to kill the Emir of Kano, he would have demonstrated additional capability. It's terror, to terrorize. He's a terrorist. So that's within the purview of our expectations of a terrorist. The Emir of Kano is a prime target. You know that Buhari was targeted. The Emir of Goza was killed. Killed, not targeted. The former Emir of Kano was targeted. So, obviously, if he kills a Mr. No Name, his agenda for terror will not be achieved. But if he kills a Buhari or an Emir of Kano, you can be sure that CNN will carry it, BBC will carry it. So his agenda for terror will be accomplished. So this is within our expectation from a terrorist. But the provocative aspect is that we could tolerate this as a country with immense resources and capacities for 5 years.
Let's hear the Chief of Defense Staff out on this particular matter.
Of course, we are aware of the security situation in the country, and the president thought it fit to call us this morning for us to come and brief him about the current situation of things. And that's what we have done. We have told the president exactly where we are and our future plans. But as you know, we can't talk about our future plans because that will be now telling the enemy what we are doing. I think we'll just leave it at that.
Yes, the SSS arrested some group of people who they said they were the fake negotiators. We know that once you told us that the government, there was a truce, between government and the Boko Haram people. And this turned out to be fake negotiators. So what's your comment on this?
Well, it's better not to discuss those things. SSS is on it. They are doing their own investigations, and when they finish, they started with the briefing yesterday. They have told you exactly what they are doing. I think we better just leave SSS to handle that one, and they will tell the nation exactly what is happening.
Can we really say we are winning this war, sir?
We are certainly not losing it. We are winning the war. Don't worry. Nigerians should have faith in their military. The nation will win this war.
Life is returning to Mubi now. Where do you take off from here? I mean, the way people are coming back, the EMIA, everybody is returning to. Where are you taking off from there?
Well, they have gone back. Life is back to normal in Mubi. Life is back to normal everywhere around that place. And we are liberating more and more communities, and people are moving in. Life is running back to normal gradually.
2015 election is
it will hold. It will hold. Don't worry.
It will hold.
It will hold.
What are you doing about the problem of fifth columnists?
Don't worry. The military is handling fifth columnists in its own way. Okay.
Thank you very much. Best of luck, sir.
All right.
Chief of the First Staff there, Alex Bade, sounds quite optimistic, and he was emphatic to have said that Nigeria is winning this war. But given the recapturing of certain communities and local governments, would you agree that we're taking certain steps forward in winning this war against the citizen?
I must state clearly that this situation is intolerable. It is intolerable that Nigeria, with all its human and material resources, will lose territory to a ragtag band of vagabonds, senseless vagabonds. It is intolerable. That's number one. Number two, the Nigerian Senate. I didn't count the internally displaced persons. The Nigerian Senate, through the Senate leader, said that there are 2 million displaced persons. I'm sure you had a shower this morning. Otherwise, you won't be dressed so brilliantly. If you were displaced, away from your home, homeless, no shelter, find water where you can, find food where you can, find clothes where you can, you won't be here smiling. So, if we're talking about 2 million displaced people, the situation is bad enough. And I think that the Commander-in-Chief should have resigned. There's no question about that. The Commander-in-Chief should have resigned, having failed over the last 5 years to contain Boko Haram. Have we made some progress? Yes. Did we recover Mubi? Yes. Should we have lost Mubi? No. Should Boko Haram still be in our territory? No. They are not in Cameroonian territory. They are not there. They are not in Niger Republic. They are not there. They are not in Chad. They are not there. It is our weaknesses that are caused by this dysfunctional leadership that has led to this situation.
Chief ONOVO, let me just open the phone lines here. Will you call in and able to turn down the volume of your TV set so we can get a crystal clear communication? I believe Larry is calling from Ondo. Good morning, Larry. Is Larry there?
Okay. Hello.
Go ahead, please.
I thank the management for bringing a viral, young, handsome man to the studio to analyze.
Did he just
issues.
call you young?
And I'm also happy that he's a presidential candidate. At least it's an encouragement to the youth. But nevertheless, at this critical point in time, we need someone that can change things around. I'm not underestimating the ability of our guest, and I could see from his contribution that he's really discussing issues. For Nigeria to be secured, we need someone that is so determined, so committed to these terrorists. These terrorists are using Toyota Hilux. We need to get, and some of their vans, they normally abandon them. If some of them are spoiled, It's very easy to get the chassis number of these vans, go to Toyota plant and see who export the people that exported this van. The security can solve this problem, but there is internal help of Boko Haram within the government. And I think General Way here has asked the of may he rest in peace. He has stated clearly that this insecurity is within the PDP. And that if we want to put an end to insecurity, until PDP says that there should be an end to it, that it will not solve. This, nobody can know better than the National Security Advisor, who happens to be a general in the Nigerian Army. He was chief of army staff, he was chief of defense staff before he was named National Security Advisor. So he knows, he has seen it all, and he was honest. And we even discussed putting the ethnic he ought to have been biased because of his ethnic, he ought to have been biased because of the position he had, but he told Nigeria the truth. And you know what happened afterwards. The man was removed, and he died in a questionable circumstance. And the trend is the same. If you are too vociferous against Boko Haram members, you will be attacked. We know of one sheikh that used to preach against Boko Haram. He used his preaching against this man was assassinated, his wife and 7 children were all killed. The same thing when General Muhammad Buhari stands to be voicing out against Boko Haram. What happened? After 3 days, he was attacked. You can see where that they are threatening the emir of Kano now.
It's all right,
may the collective effort of Nigerians, we should tell ourselves the truth, and the media, they should try as much as possible to be saying the issue as it is. In order for pampering the government is not the solution. Let us discuss issues, and may God help us to eradicate this virus, because it's already a virus. Something attacking you within is a virus. So for you to eradicate virus, you have to do social action in order to remove virus from into sectors.
Good to hear from you. And I'm so excited you called back, because yesterday, I'm excited that you're pleased with my guest today. Yesterday he called and accused two of my guests as being anti-Tinubu and being ethnic biased. Well, in our obligation to present to you an unbiased and objective discussion this morning, we're going to hear the SSA to the president again on this particular matter. He spoke about this in Lagos recently in the media presentation of Mr. Jonathan as the presidential candidate of the PDP.
And in order to make life easy for them, federal government just paid 200 billion naira of their debts so that they are not voting, and yet they say we are doing nothing. And yet, their presidential candidate has made speeches everywhere. I have watched every speech. He has said nothing. If you know anything, he has said. He has said nothing about nothing. He has said nothing about nothing. And if your mind is empty, your mouth will be empty too. So it's normal. I'm not surprised. So on the issue of power, we are not there. We are on a road that we cannot go back. This is what we did in telecom, and it paid off. But people are saying, okay, why is it that the telecoms, they started and they just started, bam? I will explain to you. The telecom services, when they came, they did not need to use the infrastructure on ground. They changed the technology from landline cable to mobile. But the power is not like that. They are still using the cable on the ground, but give them time. It is going to work. For the purpose of time, let me go to insurgency. I said it at this day yesterday. The issue of insurgency cannot be and will not be a national referendum for 2015. No. We didn't cause this war. We know nothing about this war. You heard the professor said it started 2002. You know, if I know the professor was Madam Side, and that's the man that should know. He said it started in 2002. Jonathan came to government when? 2011. 2011, how many years? 9 years. And Joseph. So we didn't start this war, but we inherited it. So people are asking, but our soldiers were the same soldiers that were winning everywhere. So what happened? I will tell you what happened. Our soldiers were trained in conventional warfare. But today, the narrative is changing. The problems in the army have been attended to. I cannot talk about them here. There are security issues. But even when I talk or I don't talk, you can see the result. They are taking over Mobi. They are in control of Boza. Banda is under control. So, you know, virtually everywhere that these people have put stupid flags and be stupidly removed.
A special assistant to Mr. President on publicity there talking about his position as well as the position of the presidency as regards security in Nigeria. Chief ONOVO, I know you can't wait to react to that.
Well, it's unfortunate. I think it's better if the man changes his occupation and becomes a comedian. It's unfortunate he can trivialize very issues, serious security issues like this, and politicize them unduly. Let's talk about power before we talk about security. He said he's on a path from which he cannot come back. Now, there is no such path in human life. That's number one. Number two, if he were on the right path, we would have seen some improvement. The Financial Intelligence magazine did a very detailed report where it documented how the government had spent $51 billion, not naira, between 1999 and today on power. In 1999, power supply was about 3,000 megawatts. After the $51 billion, it is still 3,000 megawatts. If they have done what is right, we must have some right results. This is commonsensical. Brazil spent about $10 billion and got 10,000 megawatts. Using that benchmark, if we spend $51 billion, we should have 51,000 megawatts in generation. But we are still at the 3,000. Where is the $51 billion? Apparently, it may have gone to TAN or somewhere else. That's number one. Number two, just like I said, to repeat myself, I had addressed the security situation before. This situation is intolerable. British common sense teaches you that prevention is better than cure. That's why you have intelligence and surveillance systems in your security management system.
Let's quickly take this call from Abuja. Hello, good morning, Joseph. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much. The man on whatever they are, good morning. Thank you for coming this morning. Nigerians are listening to you, and we want to say that we like your observations, and we like that you are saying some facts. But I don't think the issue of security in this country should be the way learned people are looking at it. It should not be the way market women analysis, like I always say. Security is a very, very complicated issue in this country. In Kano State, for instance, I lived all my life there. I've experienced not less than 10 riots where Christians, non-Hausa tribes were slaughtered, tortured, maimed in the entire country. And I said not less than 10. So the fundamentalism and extremism as we've seen it today is not something that started all of a sudden. This thing has been there. We've always overlooked this thing. People died and issues were forgotten. People died and nothing was done about it. See, can't inherit this thing. Sometimes when we talk out of passion and patriotism for Nigeria, we should also look at the other end of it. What is it that he should do that he has not done? We understand that there were state of emergency in this state, and it has not yielded results. But we are also seeing the fact that there are saboteurs. Why are we not? Jonathan did not start this whatever, so he inherited them. He may not have done all that he should do to make sure that there is peace in this country, but why is there no support? Why are we not seeing northern leaders? Why are we not seeing I remember by this time, I think 2 years ago, Madala was bombed on the 25th of December or 26th or something, where thousands were killed. The response we had from northern leaders and whatever was not what we are getting today. Do you understand what I'm saying? You will not forget those people that have said the insurgency has been politicized to push Jonathan. You cannot tell them they are stupid for thinking that way. There are lots of things we are seeing that we have not gotten explanation. But it's all right, okay, Jonathan has there are soldiers. The soldiers are Nigerians. The soldiers decide to sabotage, some parts of the soldiers decide to sabotage this thing. We should not pour all these things. What support are we giving to the presidency? What support are we giving our leaders to help them fight this fight? What I am telling you is this: we must tell ourselves the truth. People have died in 1991. Thousands died in 1991 in Kano riots. In 1990, 2001 there was riots. In 2002 there were riots. In 2004 there were riots. 2007 there were riots. Kaduna also, just people have been dying. I'm sitting down comfortably in my house. If there is somebody posted something in Denmark, posted something in Denmark, I'm afraid of my life. I can be killed.
It's all right, Joseph.
Somebody's angry that one woman insulted.
It could go on and on and on, but we have a limited time here. I believe you want to react to that. Would you say that this administration has gotten all the support necessary from followership?
I will not say that. But when people entrust you with leadership, they expect you to provide leadership.
Irrespective of support.
They expect you to provide leadership. And they cannot support you if you're not providing it. They cannot continue to support you if you're not providing it. Look at the example I gave you about the Emir of Kano. He doesn't have an army. He's calling on the people to rise up and defend themselves. That is leadership. That's number one. And the people may have more capability than you think, like the case of the hunters in Gamborungala. That's one example. Number two, he said we should support the government. What did our military ask us for? They asked us for two things: weapons and welfare when this problem started. Weapons and welfare. Did we provide? You see, you cannot embark on an armed robbery campaign and ask me to support you. I'm only going to support you in what I believe. If I believe you really want to fight Boko Haram. Now, compare what he contributed with Lanre's contribution. When Lanre referred to the previous National Security Advisor, everything Lanre said is verifiable. The previous National Security Advisor, go to the internet and search it. What he said about the ruling party being the source of Boko Haram. So, some of these contributions and all these sentiments, they're not going to work. And let me give you other examples. There is no government in the world that doesn't have security challenges. There are people in Texas that believe that Texas should be independent. I was trained in the University of Houston. I have a master's degree in engineering from the University of Houston. There are people in Texas and they form associations. But the security establishment, without any noise, monitors and manages them, infiltrates them. So that is security management. That's number one. I have talked about what did our armed forces ask us for. Did we provide? Instead, the president said he needed $1 billion to buy weapons, $1 billion, and that he was going to take a loan. The question is, in the last 5 years, you have had 3 trillions. What did you do with it? So some of these are very sentimental. Under General Obasanjo, who is also a Southern Christian, there was Sharia. He managed it in his own way. But the fact was that he managed it. Under Shagari, who is a Northern Muslim, there was Maitasine. I don't know how old the color is. There was Maitasine. Shagari crushed them. When you're a commander-in-chief and you have 50-something advisors in different matters, and you're a politician, and you have made the minimum requirements, you have the resources to deal with this kind of nonsense.
It's all right.
Any competent commander-in-chief, like the Cameroonian commander-in-chief, will deal with Boko Haram. So these sentiments about some people, there are extremists all over the world. It is the duty of government to provide security.
It's all right. Let's take the last caller for this segment, because I understand we have to wrap up this segment. Abdulaziz is calling from Ilorin. You have just 1 minute. Please go ahead with a contribution.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I so much appreciate the man and program this morning. And he has been saying it right. If we need to fight security issues in Nigeria, we need to be sentimental. What Mr. President needed from Nigeria, Nigerians have provided it for them. Look at brave hunters in Nigeria fighting Boko Haram. People with their minds and zeal wanting this thing to stop. But Mr. President and people at the top, the leaders in Nigeria, are playing politics with the lives of Nigerians. If somebody said people are not enough, President, for God's sake, what do you want us to provide again? Do you want Nigeria to go getting armor tanks? Do you want Nigeria to go to US to get arms and ammunition for our Nigerian soldiers? Is it Nigerians getting those feedings for our military? Some people are backfolding, putting this money into their own pockets. Is it Nigerians to do that again, for God's sake? In fact, for people contributing to Mr. President, you see a lot of political analysts, security analysts telling Mr. President what to do. Then we said, no, this is what we're going to be doing. The Nigerians are trying. General Olusegun Obasanjo has been calling time without number. People have been talking to Mr. President, this is what we're going to be doing. He said, no. What do you want him to do? Somebody is accusing Buhari of not giving Mr. President enough. And do you know Buhari himself has been calling Mr. President, telling Mr. President what to do. Mr. President will say, no, you are opposition parties. This is a country I think oppositional parties have no. Even in criticism, my country friends from the studio here, even in criticism, we're going to be saying things that will be very useful to Mr. President.
It's all right.
Opposition parties don't only criticize, but Mr. President should sit back and see what are those good things in this criticism.
Thank you, Abdulaziz.
Mr. President should be the one to now sit back and see.
I believe you made your point there. We have to let you go, Chief. But before you go, you are contesting in the presidential election in 2015 under the platform of the National Conscience Party. Just 1 minute. What exactly do you intend to do differently from what we see today?
Specifically and broadly, everybody knows what is right. But because of dishonesty and selfish or parochial interests, we try to misrepresent things. We're going to provide security, robust security, world-class security. It's the management aspect that we take care of and the leadership aspect. That's number one. Number two, we will lead by example. Number three, we will increase minimum wage by reducing the maximum wage. We will not increase the wage bill. So there will be no inflationary effect. We will do it, increase the minimum wage by reducing the maximum wage, starting with the president, if I'm elected. Now, we will reduce fuel price by increasing domestic capacity utilization. That's how we're going to do it. We're not spending any extra money. We're just going to refine more instead of this wasteful importation. We are going to double power in 2.5 years. And that is going to cost us about $9 billion, which we can afford. In this 3,000 level where you are, we're going to produce a minimum of additional 3,000 megawatts. We're going to upgrade the transmission systems, and we're going to extend the distribution systems, and we have costed it, and we can bring that in at $9 billion in 2.5 years. We have done it before, we can do it again.
It's all right. Chief Martins ONOVO, thank you very much for coming today. Congratulations on your nomination. He's a presidential candidate under the platform of the National Conscience Party. I don't have to tell you, Chief, that this is a national platform, and this is where you have to come over and over again to tell Nigerians about what your lofty plans are ahead 2015. So I hope that you'll be able to discuss with our marketing department after that.
That's excellent. It will be a good idea.
Back again and again. All right, we'll take a short break now, and we'll be back with more. Don't go away, please.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then news. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.